Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams.
And welcome in to another episode of Inside Edge Primetime here, everybody, on the Inside Edge Network. That's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon, and we are back. It is Monday. It is another week of Primetime and a busy, busy week here on the Inside Edge Network. We are happy to be with you. We got a lot to talk about. We are Cleveland's digital leaders, so we got a lot of Cleveland stuff to hash out with the Guardians having Chad, we'll talk about it later. I know you have different feelings than I do about the Guardians and Braves series, and they took on the Cardinals, and they're currently playing the Cardinals. We'll talk about them later on. Of course, the Cavaliers, they start the postseason, so we'll talk about them in just a moment with Giannis and all the other talk. It's crazy. We're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks and the show where the postseason is tomorrow, but we'll talk about it. And, of course, later on, the Cleveland Browns. We love them so much. And they're going to confuse us at times, and they're confusing us quite a bit right now with this NFL draft process and the quarterback room and all that. So a lot to talk about. We'll get into all of that. But, Chad, my bro, how are you feeling? Good to see you. Welcome to Monday.
Yeah, I'm good. It's good to be here on Monday. Glad I made it because, Mondays aren't always the best. But, to get to Friday, you got to go through a Monday, right? So that's what you got to do. Pretty good weekend. Today was nice, man. The weather was nice. It was kind of soupy outside. It was humid for the first time this spring. It felt a little summery. I could deal with that, for a couple of days, and then I start complaining about how hot it is. Immediately coming off the heels of, taking my kids to school in 20 below weather or whatever. But that's fine. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I was doing good, man, all weekend, and I'm doing great today. So I had a busy weekend. I mentioned a little bit yesterday at main event, but I worked over at Mahal's. I had a gig there, got to check out Wallace out from Los Angeles. She was awesome. He had Fake Dad also performing on the card, and Grumpy Plum, who's based out of Cleveland. So real cool stuff there. I got to see Chip the Ripper, a Cleveland legend, perform at Brothers Lounge. And then, of course, Saturday, just staying busy. Went up to the studio, got some work done. We got a lot of cool plans with the collective. A busy weekend. I'll talk about that later on. Just with the some shows coming up this weekend.
Nice.
Some other things going on. So very excited to get after it, get after this primetime edition and all that fun jazz. So
nice, man. I just think you talk about having all these gigs and performances and singing in places, and I just like Eli, the way that people would run out of there like someone screamed fire if I started singing in public, man. I it's not for me. It's not a thing I do. So it's okay.
Let me ask you this: you have one karaoke song you have to go to. What's your karaoke song you're going to?
Oh boy. I'm going Fly Me to the Moon, Frank Sinatra.
Really? I did not expect that out of you, pal. All right.
If you're going to do it, you got to do it big, right?
I appreciate it. And as your
co-host, it's either that or Dancing Queen. Come on, obviously.
Interesting. I love it. I can see both of it. All right. Very well. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about the Cleveland Cavaliers here. They take on the Toronto Raptors in round one of the playoffs, and it looked like it was going to be the Atlanta Hawks for a while. It's not. It's Toronto Raptors. It's not LeBronto. It's going to see if Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, and company can take care of business. How are you feeling about this so far, Chad? Game one this Saturday. You'll have a lot of the pregame and postgame coverage with TK. So how are you feeling about this?
I feel like it. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm torn because the last 2 years we've gone into series, one with New York, one with Indiana. And we've said, this should be a manageable series for the Cavs. There shouldn't be a problem here. They're the best team on the floor at multiple positions, right? They are. We've I don't know. I can't even count the number of things that we said. Well, they'll they're not going to sweep the Knicks, but they'll win in 5. They're not going to sweep the Pacers, but they'll win in 5. They should handle it. They're the better team. And then we're going into this Toronto series, right? And they're the better team. But the Raptors can do some things. I mean, they have guys that are really active on the wing, and that worries me for the Cavs because the defensive effort has been less than stellar, right? At times,
Yeah.
at a lot of different times this year.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll have a really good half defensively, and sometimes they. I don't know if they play that way, then okay, this series really should be over in 5 games. But if the defensive effort isn't there, or if the defensive execution isn't there, I don't think it's an effort thing. Sometimes it looked like it was an effort thing, but if the execution isn't there, then it worries me that this series could go 6 or 7 with some guys already banged up, and that worries me for what the second round looks like. If a series with the Raptors goes 6 or 7, which it shouldn't. I mean that the talent on the floor for the Cavs is I think far superior, almost everywhere really over Toronto, but. And it doesn't feel like your typical 4-5 matchup either, right? It should be really competitive. It should be a 7-game series, but I think a lot of people just looking at it from the outside going, well, the Cavs should handle business. That makes me nervous, Eli. This is how we talked about the Knicks a couple of years ago. This is how we talked about the Pacers last year. It makes me feel a little bit uneasy, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I get where your concern is. On main event yesterday, Rob Rizicki was talking about, the pace of play, offensively for the Toronto Raptors. And I get that. I understand your concern. Our defense, Double A mentioned it about, yes, the defense has been bad. I get it. At times it has looked pretty bad. However, I do feel that the Cavaliers have enough star power with James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, those guys. And if Jared Allen is at least 85-90% healthy and can get going offensively, they should take care of this Toronto team, like you said, in 5 games. That's what I said yesterday in main event. I really feel very confident that this is a 5-game series for the Cavaliers, a series where they can build momentum. It's not a series where they're going to have to really battle with Orlando or Miami. I know they took care of business, but it did feel like those games were a little rough and tough. I feel like this is a game where or in a series where they could take care of business very quickly.
Yeah.
Build momentum. There's not a ton of bigs on Toronto that really worry me. Jakob Poeltl's there, but besides him, there's really not too much size that's going to really stifle Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, even Thomas Bryant, and Naquan Tomlin off the bench. So I feel like this is a really good opportunity for the Cavaliers to build some momentum. And I even said yesterday, Chad, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on this, but I said as opposed to like Boston and New York and even Detroit, I feel like that the Cavaliers are in a better spot than all of those teams right now as far as first-round matchups in road to a potential Eastern Conference Finals. And I've been stressing on this show and across the network that I don't think the Cavaliers during the regular season should have tried to match up and lose here to get to this. I think that's silly. But the way it did work out, now that it is looking like this, I think some of these play-in teams like Charlotte, like Orlando, I think some of these teams are going to be tough. And I think Toronto, yes, I get they're the 5th seed. I get it. I just think you look at the difference from 5 to 10, it wasn't that far of a gap as far as win-loss record. And I feel like that, I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that Boston's going to have some trouble. New York might have a little bit of trouble with Atlanta. And I think Detroit's going to have trouble with whoever that 8 seed is. And I think one of them may go down. That's one of my bold predictions. I think you could see Detroit go down in that first round against the 8 seed. I think these play-in teams are a little bit tougher than Toronto. So this is a good opportunity for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, well, some of the bottom half of the East really kind of caught fire. Well, not the bottom half of the East, but the bottom half of the playoffs anyway of the East. Those playoff teams kind of caught fire down the stretch at certain points, There were times a couple of teams ripped off, 10 wins in 12 or 13 games or whatever, and you're like, all right, well, Orlando figured it out or whatever, or Charlotte, whoever. So, yeah, I mean, that concerns you as well. I just – in a year – again, I keep saying it. We talked about, the East should be wide open for the Cavaliers. They'll cruise in. They'll get the 1 seed. This is the year, right? We're gonna motor on through to the Eastern Conference Finals. Might have some trouble there, but we'll get to no problem. And now, like I said, I feel uneasy about the first round. I know I shouldn't, but it's Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes and RJ Barnett that worry me, not the bigs really. It's just that activity on the wings and their ability to defend a little bit. It just makes me a little bit nervous that the Cavs don't have a night where they're hitting some shots and they're scoring some points. I mean, could they drop a 130 to 120 type of game, 130 to 110 type of game against Toronto? Do they lose one at home, and then all of a sudden now you feel really uneasy going to Toronto 1-1 or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I guess I'll feel better when I see them in game 1 out on the floor and they come out and handle business and, put up a 138 to 94 win. I'll go, okay, all right, that's game 1. Makes me feel a little better. But hopefully that's what we see. I mean, we got the weird time slot. Just I don't know, man. It's Cleveland sports, Eli. It's been I've lived up in Northeast Ohio too long, and I've watched too many Cleveland sporting events now, and it just I've been poisoned by the but what if, and the what if always seems to come true when it kind of heads toward the bad direction. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'd feel a little bit more uneasy if Max Strus wasn't in the lineup. But,
Yeah.
Max Strus being back, and he's been looking really good since his return to the roster, to playing here, for the Cavaliers. I feel like a lot better. Him, Sam Merrill getting going and having some shine there. It's gonna be those 3-point shooters hitting the open shots, but it's also gonna be for a guy like Evan Mobley. This is gonna be a personal series. We talked about yesterday on Main Event. Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley been tied together really their whole careers, the Rookie of the Year competition or contest, whatever you want to call it. Where Scotty Barnes takes the award, Evan Mobley finishes second, like Rob alluded to yesterday. But also just like the conversation of, did the Cavs, get the right guy? Scotty Barnes, should he have been the pick? Whatever. I think there's a lot of conversation going to be had, especially in the national media, about those two as this series gets going. But it can be really diminished quickly, any conversation, at least for this season, if the Cavs take care of business. Go out and win the series in 5 or sweep the Toronto Raptors. I think they can really build momentum here, Chad. Maybe I'm by myself on the network where I feel very strongly about the Cavs taking care of business. I think we're going to see some big moments out of James Harden in his Cavaliers postseason debut. I think that's going to be big. I also think that some of these guys like Max Strus, like I said, Sam Merrill, Naquan Tomlin, they're going to bring the fun, the youthfulness, especially Naquan Tomlin and Sam Merrill. And Strus going to bring that mindset of how to get back to the NBA Finals. He did get there with the Miami Heat. So you wonder, can he have some of these moments? So we'll see.
Yeah, like Merrill's a defender. I think you're going to see him, probably on the floor more than maybe, you might have expected to, because they're going to need that defensive effort from him. I'm just like, RJ Barrett's a guy, just like, I've been reading up about RJ Barrett a little bit because I'm like, what happened to RJ? It seemed like RJ Barrett was rumored to be like on his way to Cleveland. I don't know how many times, how many different years trade it, and he was just like forever like mired in trade rumors. Why is that? I mean, it's a pretty good play. It's just, is he that service? I mean, does he just have that like skill set? It's like I don't get it, man. It's just RJ Barrett. He's always in trade rumors, right? Why is that? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I'm an RJ Barrett fan, and I thought, coming out of Duke, he was really going to be a cornerstone piece for, a franchise. But he does seem to always be mentioned as, somebody that can be traded to elevate a little bit more for a team. Seems like he's kind of found a home, though, in Toronto for the most part, Chad.
Yeah.
And
it's not because no one wants him, right? It's because he's got this serviceable skill set that,
Yeah, exactly. He's been pretty good, for Toronto. And then you have Emmanuel Quickly, who, he is dealing with some injuries, I believe, with a hamstring injury. So we'll keep an eye on if he's able to play in this series against Cavaliers. He's somebody who provides a 3-point arsenal and a lot of fun off of that bench for Toronto. So having him out, it could put a lot, on the other guys, those other role players to step up. So that's why I just feel good. The more and more stuff that comes out, you look at the 3-0 record the Raptors had against the Cavaliers this season, but it was also all with Darius Garland on the team, and he wasn't even playing in any of those games.
Yeah,
and
some of those lineups were very, very star challenged. It's for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll keep an eye on that. Cavs Raptors Saturday 1:00. You'll have Chad Bryan and TK Dandridge here on the Inside Edge Network, going over pregame with a legal formation, and then, of course, postgame after the Cavaliers hopefully defeat the Toronto Raptors. But we'll keep an eye on all that. Make sure you follow Inside Edge Network at Inside Edge Net. And with that being said, yes, the postseason is this Saturday. It actually starts this tomorrow. We'll go over some play-in games with you tomorrow and all that fun jazz. However, and the Jazz aren't in the postseason.
Are you saying Utah's going to?
No. Yeah, you can't get me there. They didn't want to make it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Utah.
Yeah,
all right.
Historically, I think at some point.
Now the Bucks, another team that did not make the playoffs, and it seems like them and Giannis Antetokounmpo just continue to be like, no, it's you. No, it's me. No, it's you. No, I don't want to go. You got to, okay.
Forcing me out, right? What am I going to do? Forcing me out.
Chad, I thought this was so interesting. This is from ESPN. And they had the panel here discussing, Danny Green, former Cavalier, Kendrick Perkins, I believe, also on the panel, Shams Charania, and I believe Malik Andrews obviously leading the panel there. So you had an interesting conversation about Giannis and if he wants to be a Milwaukee Buck, if he's going to be on the team next year. We've talked about Giannis. We were whispering, because we didn't want to be too loud about the trade rumors at the deadline. now with the offseason, and we don't want to really talk too much about the offseason with the Cavaliers getting ready for an NBA championship hunt, but this is big for the entire league. I want to check out this video. I know I sent this over to you earlier. I want everybody out there to check this out. It's from ESPN, and we'll share our thoughts on Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks' ongoing trade saga. Take a look at this.
Shams, you alluded to this. The Giannis conversation's picking up. He hasn't played since March 15th, but spoke to reporters on Sunday. When asked if he's played his last game in a Bucks uniform, Giannis said, quote, "That's a very good question. I don't know. It's not up to me. We'll see." Went on to say, "I didn't think we were going to be in this position last year, so I don't know what position we're going to be next year. If everything goes well, hopefully the Bucks want me here. Why not? But if they don't, okay." Danny, what's your first reaction?
This is absurd. I mean, at this point, I think he's trolling us. I think he likes to mess
100%.
with the media. I think he likes to mess with the organization, whoever's in the lock. I don't know, but he's just bored maybe. But we know he has more control over than what he says. He has more idea of what's going on and what he wants to do. And when you're a star player, which you should have that type of leverage and power, you have a lot of say-so on what happens. So you just need to come out and say it.
Charles, let me ask you a question. So Doc and the Bucks parted ways, but they still might have a role for Doc. So that it got me speculating because Doc is not going to waste his time, right? He's not going to waste his time on the rebuild.
Yeah.
To me, this is showing all signs that Giannis is going to be moved this offseason and going in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, behind the scenes, everyone's been very clear. Like, Giannis, his camp, the Bucks have known since last May that he felt like it was time to part ways, that it was time to move on, that the time had come. And the Bucks, we saw at the deadline, they engaged in conversations with multiple teams. They negotiated with multiple teams. And so that's where we were in February. So now when we look into the offseason, I think everyone in the NBA understand where everything is going, where everything is at now with these two sides. And I think coming to the May draft combine, that's where a lot of these conversations will start to pick up. He wants to compete for a championship. Doc Rivers was quoted the other day saying this team doesn't have the players to do so. So that tells you everything you need to know.
Yep.
Courtesy of ESPN NBA today, and they obviously break down this Giannis and Bucks situation where it seems like, they keep passing the buck, not to use the team there for a moment, but they keep passing the buck, Chad, about who is really, wanting to stay. Is Giannis wanting to stay? Do the Bucks want to trade him? You keep hearing different things from both organizations. The Bucks, entertain trade offers. I heard Shams talk about, entertaining trade offers and ready to move on at the deadline. The whole Kalshi Sports thing where Giannis was playing with the odds of where he should go and then he doesn't go anywhere. Let me ask you this. Obviously, the Cavaliers are gearing up for a postseason run, but this is for any team that feels like they need to get to the next level if a team doesn't get to where they want to be in this postseason run. If you're an NBA GM right now, right, you're an NBA franchise, you're making the calls here, Chad. First off, congratulations. Second off.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I've worked hard for this moment, to be honest with you.
Have you soured a little bit on Giannis Antetokounmpo? Because it seems like he has such a strong reputation. And I personally, not to answer my own question first, but I don't think I have. I feel fine that he's done enough goodwill in the league. But, he won the NBA championship, the NBA MVP. He's on the floor, crying, in tears about bringing this championship to Milwaukee. And now they've missed the postseason multiple times really recently. Yeah. They have had the trade rumors for multiple seasons. Still has a year, I believe, in a player option, or an option on his contract coming up. So, just a lot going on. Have you soured on Giannis Antetokounmpo? And you're an NBA franchise. If you're an NBA GM, would you entertain bringing him in this offseason?
I think you still do. LeBron did some weird stuff, right? Every year we talked about LeBron playing GM or whatever, and there was this perception that LeBron was calling the shots behind the scenes and he was making the trades and he was, directing the free agent signings and whatever, bringing his guys in, not just his guys, but, the guys with his agent, things like that. But people still, you still wanted LeBron, right? You're still one of the top players in the league. Giannis is still one of the top players in the league. I don't know. I guess you go in cautiously, maybe. I don't know, but to bring in a talent like him, and maybe when he gets to a new place, maybe if he's a little more engaged, all the kind of the shenanigans and the side stuff kind of stops. It's pretty harmless, right? It seems like he's just having a little fun. The statement was weird. Hopefully the Bucks want me here. I don't have any.
Why
say.
wouldn't the Bucks want him there, Chad? Not to interrupt. Why wouldn't the Bucks want a generational player? I mean, the guy has grown from the 11th, 12th guy on the roster to the star. If not, I still put him as a top 3 player in the league when he's playing. Now, granted, he hasn't played in like a month and a half because of all this. They're trying to keep his trade value up, it appears. He wants to play. Does he want to play? But why wouldn't the Bucks want him? It's not like this is the 8th guy on the roster is wondering if he's going to have a role player position next year. I mean, this makes no sense to me. It seems like he is trying to make sure his image is protected in all of this going on. So when he is traded, it doesn't look bad because let's be real. When it comes to NBA trades, players, even if they are the star player, usually look bad after. The only one I can think of where he looked better after all of that is Luka Doncic.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he also wasn't out in the press asking for a trade either. I mean,
exactly. But that's what I'm saying. These star trades usually end up looking bad on whoever it is that is the star. And that's why I think what Giannis is feeling a little bit of the pressure and trying to defer it a little bit. Like I said, the Luka one's a little different because he didn't ask for the trade, like you said. And, I mean, Dallas still loves him. But he's the one whose image really hasn't been hurt from moving to another city like Los Angeles. I just think Giannis is feeling a little bit of the pressure, and he doesn't want to look like the bad guy in all of this. I think I still would bring him in, though, because he's in his prime. He's definitely – I feel he's, healthy enough after enough rest that he probably could play in a postseason. Who's to say, I mean, he's not playing, I guess, for a reason. But I would imagine he'd be ready for next NBA season, and I think it's worth bringing a guy like that in. I don't think he brings as much baggage as a guy you alluded to, LeBron James, where, yes, LeBron, the decorated career, multiple stints here in Cleveland, but I just think you don't have as much baggage with Giannis. And I think that's worth taking an opportunity to elevate your team, whoever it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Cavs. We talked about the Cavs, but anybody looking to elevate their team, Giannis instantly makes you a title contender.
Or you mentioned LeBron, and I mentioned LeBron actually to start with, but even KD. I mean, this isn't KD joining Golden State, right? This isn't Kevin Durant going to the Warriors after losing in 7 games in a series where, OKC probably, had a lot of chances to win that series. And then he immediately joins, Golden State. It's not the same thing, right? This is just, I don't know. I mean, sometimes players in a franchise may grow apart. They won a championship there. And you can't accuse Giannis of ring chasing. I mean, he's got a championship in Milwaukee. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to put it together to get anywhere close to another one there, unless it's going to take a concerted effort. But now they fired Doc Rivers. They're going to keep him on as a consultant or a whatever. I don't know. That's a weird process, right? Like, hey, listen, man, ball, just not really court level ball, right? Like, we want you to help us build a roster, but we don't want you anywhere near these guys. Don't coach the guys. Don't do that.
It reminds me of, didn't the Seahawks try doing that with Pete Carroll from coach to consultant? It just never works out. It's like, you're not good enough to, in the franchise's eyes to lead these guys anymore, but you can still tell the franchise, hey, I think we should. Yeah, it makes no sense.
It's weird.
It's
not going to work. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me, but maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe they'll make it work. And I can't think of another situation where that's gone down that way, and even where it's happened, let alone worked out in the long run. But usually it's a longtime coach who's won shit, and then they retire and they're kept on as a consultant or whatever. This is weird. Fire the guy as a coach and keep him on as a consultant to do why? Was he Paul DePodesta now? Does he do the DePodesta job? Is he a thought partner for Milwaukee? I don't know. I heard that phrase today on the radio, thought partner. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation all around. It's weird with Giannis. Now that's back on. Again, pass the buck. Back to the franchise, right? Well, I hope they want me here. I mean, if not, then I don't know. I guess now. So now, our most recent thing is we hear Giannis say, "Well, I hope the Bucks want me." And now when they trade him, we're gonna go, dang, the Bucks didn't want him. That's crazy. They had this generational player.
Right.
It's wild. It's such a weird situation. I don't know if I'd be cautious about bringing him in, but I don't know. I guess maybe you keep your ears a little more peeled and do you keep eyes peeled or ears peeled? I'm not sure how that works.
Maybe both of them. Maybe both.
All the above. You want to look and hear. Yeah, you want to see and hear.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I just feel like maybe you pay a little extra attention, but I wouldn't hesitate to bring a guy like Giannis in. Like I said, sometimes just new scenery does wonders, right? For a guy's whatever, just his psyche, his attitude, his mental health, his perspective, whatever. Energy level. You can see it. You see it all the time in baseball. Guys go, they get traded and they hit, 425 for the first, month and a half with a new team or whatever, and they cool off. But sometimes just new scenery, a new feel, when it feels like a franchise wants you again, that can make a difference for guys. You never know. It's a little bit of a weird situation, but I don't think it's not raising red flags or anything for with Giannis for me.
Yeah, I think this too, Chad. I think two big things happened where the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo relationship soured. They moved off of Chris Middleton, who was somebody he was been tied to his entire career up until when the Bucks got, made the trade, I believe, and sent him off. And that really messed up Giannis. You could hear the hurt in his voice after, talking about losing.
He's a thoughtful guy, too. He gives a lot of really good answers at his press conferences.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just
wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's what I think what a lot of people appreciate about Giannis. He's very empathetic and vulnerable at points where you don't see a lot of athletes be vulnerable. And, he talked about, not having, Chris Middleton as a teammate anymore. And I think that was a big moment. And then the Dame Lillard experience, and it's no fault of anybody, it just didn't work out. Yeah. And then he got hurt. Dame Lillard goes back to Portland. He's finishing a Trailblazer, which he should finish as a Trailblazer. But that whole experiment didn't work out. And that was, I think, the last real straw to see if Giannis can get one more championship in Milwaukee or go on another run. So now we'll see where he goes. We'll keep an eye on that. I'm sure AA will have some thoughts about it on Midnight Run, which is on here on the Inside Edge Network at midnight to 1 a.m. So not too long after us. So you got all your nightly coverage here Monday through Wednesday. You got Inside Edge Primetime, Chad and I, and then Midnight Run with AA Anthony Alford. And, of course, Chad and I give you Thursday as well from 10 to 11. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. A lot of great stuff, Chad. Exciting stuff talking about the Cavaliers. Just to pivot back for a moment before we go to break. The Cavaliers, as we mentioned, they take on the Raptors in the first round. We're going to have Tim Alcorn, the Cavaliers radio play-by-play announcer, on the Cavaliers postseason playoffs preview show.
Really excited
here on the Inside Edge Network. Yep, it's going to be awesome. So make sure you give us a follow here on Inside Edge Net. You're going to hear from Tim Alcorn, his thoughts on the Cavaliers postseason, what we should expect as Cavs fans. Can they make a deep run to the NBA Finals? Can they hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy for the first time in 10 years? It'll be exciting to find out.
And there's a good chance I'll be listening to him as well on Saturday rather than watching on Amazon Prime. I might watch it on Prime, but I think I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen locally. I want to give that a shot. So I'm going to do that on Saturday, I think.
I love it.
See how it times up. I guess I'll have to pause it and play some games with the remote, but whatever.
Yes, I love it. Well, you know what? I love it. As I mentioned here, Chad, Inside Edge Cavs playoff preview show Wednesday. That is 10 p.m. Eastern time on the Inside Edge Network. That's on here. If you're watching on YouTube or X or Facebook, it'll be across all the channels. It'll be Chad and I, AA Anthony Alford, and David Ruiz, all from the Inside Edge Network. And, like we mentioned, Tim Alcorn on the show and some other surprises I'm sure we'll have ready for you on Wednesday. That's Wednesday. Today's Monday. We got another half hour or so, if not longer. We're rocking and rolling, and we're not ready to say goodbye yet. So Chad and I are going to take a quick pause, however, let you get your caffeine, dinner, whatever you need to get. We're going to take a pause, come back, and Chad, we're going to talk about the Cleveland Guardians because they did not look good against the Atlanta Braves. Yeah. And we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Cardinals series that's currently going. They took on the Cardinals today. Yeah. And what is, like I said, a really interesting start, scheduling-wise for the Cleveland Guardians. So we'll talk about that. And then later on, we'll talk about our Cleveland Browns and what they're going to do in this first round with 2 draft picks. The conversation of, do they go offensive line? Do they go receiver? Do they trade back? We'll talk about it. I don't have the energy for it right now. Maybe we'll find it here in about a half hour or so. And we'll talk about the Cleveland Browns. So much more to talk about. But that's Chad Bryan. To my right, your left, I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime on the Inside Edge Network. We're back right after this.
Hey, I got something to show you guys. Take a look. It is spring. Happy spring to all of you. Take a look at what we have here for you from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Beautiful spring scent candles here for you. Hand poured with premium fragrance and essential oils. How about this? Our coconut soy wax candles bring fresh, uplifting spring scents to your home. Made with clean, natural ingredients, they're a mindful choice for sensitive spaces and those who love effortless seasonal fragrances. You got to check it out right now. There's the soft bloom and the lemon bar candles, all healthy ingredients, all from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. And if you're a first-time customer, use the promo code InsideEdge20. That's InsideEdge20. Get this for yourself, for your friends, family, everyone. You want a good smelling home, AlleyRoseFragrances.com will make it happen. Again, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Get the new spring candles. And when you order, if you're a first-time customer, InsideEdge20 is the promo code.
Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left, and I'm Eli Moon. And we're back here for another segment on this Monday edition of Inside Edge Primetime. We appreciate you joining us, whether you're on the West Coast, East Coast, in between. We're Cleveland's digital leader, but we're serving you nationwide. We're your source of sports, entertainment, mental health, and everything in between. And we're having a ball. The Cavaliers in postseason action this Saturday. Chad and TK will have you covered for postseason action, the pregame, the postgame show, and we'll have you with the Cavaliers postseason preview show, the playoff preview show here on the Inside Edge Network.
Helpful, man.
I know that's a lot of
Postseason
play.
A lot.
But this Wednesday we'll have the Cavaliers playoff preview show. Chad and I, David Ruiz, Double A Anthony Alford, a lot of great stuff coming up there, and we'll have you covered all season, postseason long.
Yeah, the postseason playoff preview production. I can't wait.
With that being said, Chad, not a better way to segue into you getting the better of me, pal, than the Atlanta Braves beating the Cleveland Guardians up. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but this is our first time getting to talk about it on air. You and I, and I'm just going to be honest with you. You didn't have to go that tough on me, buddy. I mean, like 13 runs the one night, 11 runs the other night. 24 runs. I know they got shut out. Still scored 24 runs.
Yeah, there was a shutout sandwiched in between there. Parker Messick did his thing, man. Yeah.
He did. And we can talk about Parker Messick, man. I mean, I think he really is the shining star of this Guardians rotation. But here's the thing. 24 runs in 3 games with the shutout. I mean, the Braves really took care of business against the Guardians. However, the Guardians still in a good spot, I believe. It's early. We were talking earlier about how it's still April. Okay, you know, and they have a tough start to the year. You know, that was a tough series in Atlanta. And now they're obviously taking on the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis. They had went over there today, and they took care of business 9-3. I want to ask you, have the Guardians impressed you so far?
Yeah. I mean, I think, well, I mean, yes and no. The offense hasn't been there yet, right? But they keep winning games. I mean, they've got 10 wins now in the season. It's tough to do when you're not hitting the ball. They're really not, you know, they scored some runs tonight. They won, 9-3 was the final tonight.
Yes.
The Braves went down to the Marlins, by the way, 10-4.
Lost Chad here for a moment.
The Guardians and Cardinals, but yeah, it's impressed me with the way I think it's just when you watch a team like this find ways to win despite the lack of offense, the lack of scoring a ton of runs. Yeah, with two major question marks in the rotation, both guys, by the way, and Joey Cantillo and Parker Messick, who have been really, really good. I don't think you worry. I know Tanner Bybee got hit a little bit, whatever. Probably was that the worst start of his career in Atlanta?
It was bad, and I think there's got to eventually be a conversation. I brought up yesterday at main event, Chad. Bybee had the right inflammation in his shoulder, I believe, after left his first start of the year. They haven't talked too much about it, the Guardians, but I wonder if that's bothering him, if that's like a nagging thing going on right now, because he just hasn't looked like himself. And I know he had a rough year last year, but I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. I don't believe what we saw out of Bybee on Sunday night was what he is as a pitcher. I think he's a lot better than what he's been showing recently, and I wonder if there's something bothering him or if it is just mental, like he's just, thinking too much about what's going on. But one thing's for certain, we need him. We need him because he is something, even if he's not the ace of this lineup or this rotation. I get it, because I do believe Parker Messick's going to be the ace of this team. I think he's so good. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He takes care of business. He does it in short order, doesn't get into a lot of full counts or long at-bats. It's just mowing down these batters or at least getting them to ground out or whatever. Back to Bybee, however. We need him, even if he's a 2 or 3 guy on this rotation. In a postseason matchup, I'd love to have a efficient Tanner Bybee when he's at his best, being a Game 3 starter or a Game 2 starter. He doesn't have to be the ace, but we need whatever that was yesterday. Can't have that. Can't have that.
Yeah, and I get it. I don't think – well, I don't know. I mean, who knows? With the shoulder inflammation, it could linger a little bit in there. But it didn't – I mean, the velocity looked okay, right?
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter, I mean, he executed on some pitches, right? He had the cutter working early. It was looking really pretty good. He had a couple rough innings, obviously, in that start. But there were times when he was snapping off the cutter and throwing the fastball down at the bottom of the zone, he was really, like, almost unhittable. But for him, I wonder if it's a mechanical issue. I'd have to look at him a little more closely and maybe study just what he's doing now versus what he was doing a couple of years ago when he had a stretch of starts where he was almost unhittable. But yeah, I don't know if it's a mechanical thing. It just seems like some of those pitches, some of those cutters ended up flat, right? They got too much of the zone, and you saw what the Braves were able to do. I mean, there was a couple of pitches that weren't even really that bad. But again, a cutter moving away from a righty isn't that dangerous of a pitch unless you leave it over the middle. But just the fact that it flattened out on him a little bit, it got outside, but it just took so long to get there. I think it was Mauricio Dubon that kept his bat through the zone for a while and just was able to kind of lift it into left center for a double. And I thought, man, what a good piece of hitting. The Braves, I thought, had a really good approach against Chris Sale. I was watching that. I thought early on, or the Guardians had a really good approach against Chris Sale. I thought it looked like a game they were going to come out and maybe make some noise in, but they just, the Braves ended up getting the Bybee and that lead balloon before really the Guardians knew what hit them. And all of a sudden it was, 8-1, 9, 10-1, whatever. Rhys Hoskins with the home run though, right? I mean, that's, you're looking at the silver lining, and Rhys Hoskins maybe gets going now. Ramirez with a couple of hits tonight. But yeah, I guess the long answer, the segment long answer to the question that you asked me. Yeah, I mean, the Guardians, despite the fact that some things really aren't going well, the top of the rotation is a little iffy. Gavin Williams has been good. Tanner Bybee hasn't, but it's a short, it's a very short sample size, right? It's a very small sample size at the beginning of the season. We talked about it with batting averages. It's the same with ERAs. You have a couple bad starts early, and yeah, the ERA looks bad. But I think if Bybee can get whatever it is, like I said, I would maybe suspect it's a mechanical flaw right now. If he can, maybe just not repeating his delivery. I'm not sure. It almost seems like something lower body. When you start leaving pitches up in the zone, it's like it's a leg thing. It's a lower back thing. It's not necessarily that something's hurt. It's just you're not getting. I don't know. To be able to repeat your rotation, or not your rotation, but your delivery, it's such a huge thing for your starting rotation, right? A repeatable, athletic, whatever. When guys start getting a little quirky, sometimes you see them get off, and I don't know, Bybee just felt off yesterday, and I don't know what it was. Like I said, the velocity was there. I don't know. I mean, the long answer for that one is I don't know what's going on with him, but I suspect you could figure it out. It's just going to take someone taking a closer look at the mechanics to see what the difference is between then and now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And we'll keep an eye on Bybee. We'll keep an eye on this Guardians rotation. They win 9-3 against the Cardinals today. Some exciting news. Bryan 2 hits and 3 at-bats today. He went yard, had 2 RBIs. Angel Martinez, a home run. And, yeah, I mean, those guys seemingly looking pretty good for the Guardians. Juan Brito looking sharp so far. So we'll keep an eye on all of that and kind of keep an eye on how this Guardians team continues to run through. Can they get the Cardinals in a series and get some momentum back? We'll keep an eye on all of that. We'll keep you covered throughout primetime throughout the week. And, of course, we'll keep you covered on the NFL Draft. Commissioner's Couch will keep you covered on Draft Night here on the Inside Edge Network. That's Ryan Mosser and David Calhoun. But Chad and I are going to try to figure out what the Browns should do with the NFL Draft and with the 2 first-round draft picks they have coming up. So we're going to talk about that to put a bow on this Monday edition of Inside Edge Primetime. And then I'm sure Double A will have some thoughts later on at Midnight Run. So we're going to take a pause, go grab some caffeine, grab some dinner, do what you got to do. Chad and I are going to do the same. And when we come back, we're going to talk about our beloved Cleveland Browns. Back after this.
clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Helps you lock in and focus. Over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad, Bryan over there to my right, your left. I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime on the Inside Edge Network. We're back for a final segment here on this Monday edition. We've talked some Cavaliers, we've talked some Guardians, we've even talked some Giannis Antetokounmpo. And what would a Monday edition here on Inside Edge Primetime be without us talking about our Cleveland Browns, Chad? They have been in the news for quite a bit. I don't know where to start. I think I have a better feeling about it after sitting and thinking during the break about, man, where do we talk quarterbacks? We'll talk quarterbacks in a moment. I want to ask you, with 2 weeks, roughly, before, not even really, about a week and a half at this point.
10 days, yeah.
10 days. And we got Ryan Mosser and David Calhoun. They're going to cover, for the Commissioner's Couch covering here on the Inside Edge Network, NFL Draft coverage. So make sure you stay locked in here on the Inside Edge Network.
By the way, just real quick, I'm still waiting on a text back from Ryan Mosser to see what David Calhoun thought of my mock draft. I know Ryan didn't like it on Sunday, and that's okay. That's okay. I want to know what the other half. I told Ryan, I'm going to have to come sit on the Commissioner's Couch for therapy after this answer, but I never got one, so I'm still hanging in the balance. I don't know.
So we'll have to stay tuned on that, and obviously stay tuned to NFL Draft coverage with those guys here on the Inside Edge Network. But, Chad, that's where I want to start. Everybody's had an opinion in this city and all across the national scope of what the Cleveland Browns should do with the 6th overall draft pick. Should they go offensive line? Should they go wide receiver? Should they trade back? Should they go running back? Should they go best player available? Should they go safety? I mean, what should they do? So I'm going to ask you, and you kind of alluded to it with your mock draft, if the board were to shake out a certain way, on the Sunday Sports Show, what you would do. But I want to ask for people that may not have caught yet on the Sunday Sports Show, and if they didn't, make sure you tune in this Sunday Sports Show. But what should the Cleveland Browns do with the 6th overall pick?
Select a good football player.
That's a good start.
Is that a good start? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Listen, I was going to go Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate wasn't there when I did my mock draft. He was taken. I think the Titans took him. I don't remember who took him, but he was gone regardless. I can't pull that back up now. It's gone. It's in the ether. But yeah, I was going to go Carnell Tate. I'm all in on Carnell Tate. I think he's, if you can get a decent offensive line to keep whoever the quarterback is, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But if you can keep them on their feet and let them get through their progressions, right, and hopefully play some decent football, I think Carnell Tate is he's a 1,000-yard season waiting to happen, right? A pretty consistent 1,000-yard season waiting to happen. He's a wide receiver one. He's excellent against man coverage. We talked about it at Ohio State. He played the X a little bit there. Jeremiah Smith had some injury issues, and Carnell Tate was out at the same time. So we haven't truly seen him go as the number one wide receiver in an offense where he's the guy, which, presumably he would be with you knock Jerry Jeudy down to, the wide receiver 2 or whatever, throw him at the Z. Whatever. I don't know what they'll do. Who knows? But yeah, I really like Carnell Tate there. I don't think it's just a receiver there, no matter what, right? Could be. But I like Carnell Tate if he's there at 6. If he's not, I took Monroe Freeling. Ryan actually gave me some really good feedback on why that may not be the best pick at 6. He also may not be there at 24. So if he's your guy and you think he's going to give you, 10, 12 good years as a starting left tackle, then I maybe you take him. But if you're not ready, may not be a day one starter. Maybe you don't want to use the 6th pick on a guy who's not going to come in ready to start day one. So maybe you pass him over there and you look to shore up the defense a little bit, right? There are some things that you can do, but I don't know. I'm more confused than ever. I just know that I don't want it to be Ty Simpson. Nothing personal against Ty Simpson. I just think adding another quarterback on a rookie contract to this team is not conducive to the future right now, right? It's really not. It's not even conducive to the right now. It's just it's a weird. It feels like a very weird dynamic all of a sudden in that quarterback room that's already kind of weird. So if Cardinal Tate's there, you take him. If not, I think you think about Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs. If someone's there, one of these guys that looks, they really look to be generational talents. Don't overthink it, right? Just take a really good football player.
Yeah, I agree to a degree with you there, pal. I think they got to address the offensive side. I don't think they can entertain going defense. And I've heard different chatter about if Caleb Downs there, you got to take Caleb Downs, or if one of these other guys, Ruben Bain. We could talk later on this week about the stuff for Ruben Bain coming out.
Yeah,
just crazy. We'll talk about that later on this week, but I think I'd stay far away from Ruben Bain.
Yeah,
personally. So, but I just don't think you can address the defense, or you can, I guess, if you're the Browns, but I don't think you should. I think it really should be receiver, whether it's Cardinal Tate at 6. I'm with you. I am so with you there. I think Cardinal Tate is the guy at 6. If he's there, you have to draft him. I think there's enough offensive linemen. I've been listening to Ryan Mosser talk here on the network about how this is a pretty deep offensive line class in terms of, you can go out and get a guy later in the first round.
Yeah.
The other thing is, with Dallas really seeming to like Caleb Downs, bringing him in for a visit the other day, I think it's interesting to keep an eye on if the Browns move down and do that trade back to 12 and 20 and keep 24. And then at that point, Jordan Tyson, who has been kind of sliding down draft boards a little bit. The talk was he may be where Cardinal Tate was going to go at 6.
Yeah.
And now it seems like you might be able to get him at 12. So if you are the Browns and you feel like, okay, we're going to go get a receiver, but we're also going to get another first rounder this year and some other capital and really address multiple things, maybe go get Jordan Tyson at 12. And then, if you do the trade with Dallas, this is a hypothetical, but if you go out and you make that move, you got Jordan Tyson at 12, you go get, one of these guys, offensive line wise at 20, and then 24, it's up to you if you're the Browns. You go address another offensive lineman, or maybe you take another shot at a receiver, because if one doesn't pan out, at least you took a chance on 2 of them. Concepcion, excuse me. You look at one of those guys, or maybe you look at Denzel Boston. You look at one of these guys that, Mekhi Lemon, who knows where he's going to go. You see some people think he's going to go top 10. Some people think he's the back end of the first round. But
I feel like he's more of a slot guy, though. I don't know if you're looking for a wide receiver 1. I don't think you take Lemon if you're the Browns.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Let me not.
Sorry, I hung out for a second. I wasn't listening to you. That's my fault.
Yeah, you tend to check out after 58-minute mark. You're like, yeah, I'm done with Eli. No, but
squirrel, something shiny.
I will tell you this. I would only do that in this hypothetical of Dallas. Like the Dallas trade back, he would be the pick 24 at that point. You take 2 flyers at receiver. If he were to slide. No, you're all good. If he were to slide, though, if Mekhi Lemon slides, I would take the flyer after getting Jordan Tyson. You end up, if you're the Browns, you walk away with, in this hypothetical of Jordan Tyson, a lineman, and Mekhi Lemon with those extra first rounders, that's okay with me. That's quite okay with me.
Needs addressed. Yeah.
So I think if they do sit pat at number 6 and Cardinal Tate's there along with Caleb Downs and all these other guys, don't overthink it. You have to get a receiver.
Really quickly, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you this. Do you think the Cowboys are in a little bit more of a, I don't want to say a desperate spot, but with now, obviously, Mike Parsons is gone. Now Marquise Bell might be in a little bit of trouble. I don't know what his future looks like. I mean, this is a defense that was really, really bad, really shaky anyway. And now they may be missing a star safety. I mean, they may be a little bit more desperate to try to, and I think 6 would be a good spot for them. This may give an advantage to the Browns. They may be able to get one more 3rd-round pick out of the Cowboys. Already getting a lot if you do this trade or whatever, but they may be able to pry one more, maybe even a player. probably on the offensive side of the ball, likely not from the defense, because I don't think the Cowboys are in a position to give up anyone on defense. But do you think it sort of loosens their footing a little bit? Like they have a little bit more desperation to work with, trying to get this this defense improved. This defense is going to be bad.
Yeah, I think Dallas needs to get another defensive playmaker on that side of the ball. Whether it's a defensive end, Ruben Bain's still going to go probably in the top 10. So Ruben Bain or David Bailey from Texas Tech or one of these other guys, that's where they're going to be in position for. If Sonny Styles were to slide, I don't know how far he would slide if he were to slide to 6. But if he's there, or Caleb Downs, like I said, they brought him in for a visit. So I think Dallas is going to be a little bit in desperation mode. And I think if the Browns feel like there are two guys at receiver or line that they like, and there's a combo of these 3 first-rounders they could do something with in a hypothetical with Dallas, then make the trade and move back. I'll be okay with that. But I'm not going to be okay with the Browns just moving back to the back end of the first round, getting, a second or third for it as well, and, a conditional pick in the future. I'm not okay with that.
Add some depth. I mean, stop. We need great football players on this roster. Like, let's go get them.
I have flashbacks of Julio Jones when the Browns were sitting there at 6 and they traded back with Atlanta. Yeah. And I believe that was the year they got Alex Mack. And I know Alex Mack was a good player for the Browns for a while.
Yes.
I still have terrible flashbacks of what could have been with Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, who knows? Who knows if he would have been good here, but one wonders, with a generational talent like Julio Jones, what he could have looked like in a Cleveland Browns jersey.
Well, hindsight's always 20/20. You can always go back and play the who should we have taken game, and I don't know that it necessarily is,
It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
No, it's not healthy. It's really bad for you. We talk a lot about mental health.
Yes, we do.
It's terrible for your mental health to go back and look at Browns drafts and see who they could have, should have, would have taken, whatever. Yeah, it's not healthy. It's not. Let's not do that. I don't want to do that. It makes me.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's not do that, pal. But before we get out of here, we do have to do one more thing, and that's hear from Ian Rappaport. And he has got some things to say. He has some things to say. Now, he was clear for the aggregators, and let's be clear, we're not aggregators.
No, we're not.
We're going to give it.
We are not alligators.
We're not alligators either,
Yeah.
and we're going to make it very clear that we have some thoughts because Ian Rappaport shared his thoughts. So we're going to share what his opinion is because he is inside the NFL in terms of knowing some things.
Yes.
And he said, this isn't a report I've heard. This is just my opinion. But we're going to share our thoughts on his opinion on who he thinks the Cleveland Browns Week 1 starter will be at quarterback. He was talking to Rich Eisen on the Rich Eisen show. So take a look at this, and Chad and I will react before getting you out of here on this Monday edition of Primetime.
The next team, who's the Week 1 starter, Ian Rappaport, in Cleveland?
If I had to guess, and these are guesses, not reports.
Correct.
I always do this for the
Understood.
the aggregators. Guesses, not reports. My guess is Deshaun Watson.
Of course it is. I'll say that.
But that's money talks, right?
No, because the money's paid already. That's different. You didn't. I mean, you did have to pay him years ago to get him, but that money's paid.
Right.
Here's why. Here's my argument. When he's been healthy, he's been for sure good enough to be a starter. And there are games when he broke his shoulder. Was that 2 years ago? 2 years ago, right? When he broke his shoulder.
Yeah.
He led the team back from a comeback, on a comeback, and was like, all right, this guy's really starting to play well.
Right. Then he got hurt again.
You're
right.
So I don't know, are these freak things? Who knows? But if healthy, I think he gives them the best chance to win. Now, it'll be a competition, but that's what I think.
But money does talk. I mean, if you've paid him all this and you got him for at least another year, you might as well get something for your money.
Yeah, Chad. So Ian Rappaport, like I said, not a report from Rappaport, but on the Rich Eisen show, he said he thinks that Deshaun Watson's going to be the starter, that he looked good at times. And here's what I'll say to that. I don't have time for it anymore.
No.
The Deshaun Watson conversation, we have been there, done that. The guy is only getting older. Even if he was 25 or 26, I don't think he is a leader of a football team. That is point blank the number one thing. He is not a leader of the football team. This past year, he spent dancing around on TikTok, on vacation, came back to try to act like he was helping mentor Shedeur Sanders, which I don't think Shedeur Sanders needs mentoring from Deshaun Watson, to be quite honest with you. But we're looking at Deshaun Watson, like I said, 30 years old. He'll be 31 in September, right when the football season's starting up. He is not getting any younger. This isn't a guy you're going to build for the next 10, 15 years with. So I don't understand it. And the point that even Rappaport said, you already paid the money for the most part to go get him ahead of time. I know he's on the books, but you already paid the money. And you found out what you got with him, Chad. It was absolutely not worth the money. It was pedestrian level. It was all right. But if you wanted all right, you could have signed Gardner Minshew or anybody else to bring the same type of production. I am over the conversation of Deshaun Watson. I am over it. I truly don't understand. I know that we love a good quarterback controversy in Cleveland. I know we love to spark debate about who should be snapping, or receiving the snaps from the center, come September. It should be Shedeur Sanders. I don't understand how much more clear it should be. I get it. The skeptical behavior from people around, Cleveland and around the league. And around national media, around if Shedeur Sanders is a franchise quarterback. Yeah. There's a reason he slipped to the 5th round. Apparently, there's a lot of discussion. I think there was a little bit of bullshit, to be honest, and I don't swear too much on this show, but I think there was a lot of BS, to be honest. But there was also people that in teams that felt like maybe he didn't have certain tangibles or, traits to be a franchise quarterback. However, he has shown flashes of being a franchise quarterback. He beat 2 division rivals to end the season. He is showing that you should at least give the guy a shot. He's on a 5th round quarterback deal. You have an opportunity to really take advantage here. And the guy isn't just some random guy you picked up in the 5th round and he won a game. And no, he's the son of Deion Sanders. And I get people are like, well, I don't want to hear that. Well, you're going to have to hear it, unfortunately. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to have to hear it because that does matter. People want to flock to a guy that has a lot of respect from NFL, collegiate level, everybody in the football world and around different worlds have respect for Deion Sanders. So why wouldn't they want his son to succeed? Sure, you're going to have your people that don't want him to succeed, but I believe Shedeur Sanders has earned enough of a right to get the opportunity to start. He has been in the building since he's got there. He has been very present in the offseason, being there with Todd Monken. With the conversation of our star defensive end, Myles Garrett, which I think is another silly conversation about him not being at voluntary OTAs. But, the conversation of when is Myles Garrett going to meet Todd Monken? It's like talking about a wrestling storyline. This is, and all respect to Side Hustle Wrestling podcast, but this is the NFL. Why are we talking about that?
Hey, listen, unless it's Todd Monken hitting Myles Garrett in the back with a folding chair, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter when they meet. Like, I'm sure they've talked, right? Do we have to know? Do we need to be privy to every conversation, every text?
That's what I'm saying, Chad. I mean, and I'm gonna hear your thoughts. I know I went on a little bit of a tangent here, my friend, but bro, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like Myles Garrett, you're sitting here, or excuse me, Deshaun Watson, you're sitting here, you're having this conversation, but Shedeur Sanders is in the locker room, in the building, while we're having a conversation about who's not here. Like I said, with Myles Garrett, Shedeur Sanders is meeting Todd Monken in the Brown social media's videos. Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah. Give the guy a shot. He wants it. He is showing he wants the opportunity. Todd Monken loved him enough to almost bring him into Baltimore last year during the draft. Give the guy a shot. What is the worst that happens, Chad? We fall on our face, it doesn't work out, and then you're in prime position in 2027 to draft Arch Manning if he has a better year at Texas. He came on at the end there, but I think I think there's still to be seen with Arch Manning. A lot to be seen. But Dante Moore, and they talk about this class being such a great class, and we'll see, because they say that quite a bit, and we'll have to see. But that's the worst that happens is if it doesn't work out with Shedeur Sanders, you get an opportunity to take your guy at quarterback in 2027 because you didn't have the opportunity in some's mind, to go get Fernando Mendoza. So that is how that plays out. But Deshaun Watson, no.
I think I'm with you. I think that ship sailed. I think right now your best bet. And listen, I know there are a lot of people that they want to label Shedeur Sanders a bust so badly. I don't know how you could be a bust as a 5th round pick, first of all. So like you said, you've got an opportunity with a quarterback on a rookie contract as a 5th round pick to come in and possibly have a chance to win you. Well, I don't know. We talked about this year. It's not going to be a huge jump, right? But if he can come out and win 7 or 8 games and look pretty decent doing it for the most part, there are going to be lumps. We know that. He's gonna take his lumps, right? He didn't get a full year of starting. I think you give him that. I think you have to. Deshaun Watson, you said it best. It doesn't help you for the future. I don't see him wanting to stay here. I don't see the Browns extending him. I just really don't see that being a viable solution to fixing this. I'm putting the air quotes up, to fixing this quarterback room, right? I think what you do is you take a look at what you've got. It feels a little bit like Dylan Gabriel, maybe a little bit checked out. I don't know. Again, we don't necessarily need to be privy to every single conversation on the inside, every text, every, direct message on Instagram between the coach and the whatever. We don't know. We've just heard the way that Todd Monken has answered questions. I haven't seen Dylan Gabriel. Shedeur Sanders has been here every day. Myles Garrett isn't there. Is there anyone that's concerned about Myles Garrett coming in out of shape? First of all, like, has he ever come into a season and looked like he's been lost or a step behind or whatever? I would say the only time was when he rolled his car and he had some show. That was kind of a dumb decision, right? Bad, whatever. Those things are in the past now. He's still not the best driver. He speeds a little bit. But yeah, I don't think we're concerned about Myles Garrett like not showing up to voluntary whatever and coming in, 40 pounds overweight and not being able to get to the quarterback. Like, that's not going to happen, right? So let's just concentrate on the quarterback room, because I think that's what it's about. And maybe, who knows? It's pure speculation again for the Alligators. Maybe Myles Garrett,
which we are not. We're
not the Alligators. Maybe or the Agitators. Maybe Myles Garrett just doesn't want to come in and be the center of attention right now. He knows how much heat he's going to take, right? For his perceived actions, when Monken was named the head coach. He didn't even say anything officially on the record, right? It was just perceived, like social media posts, everything, whatever. So maybe he just doesn't want to come in and take that spotlight. Who knows? Maybe he's trying to be a team player. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. They're voluntary. He's not missing anything mandatory. He's not holding out. He's not demanding a trade or a new contract or anything crazy. Let that play out. Let's just concentrate on the biggest problem right now, which is the quarterback room. Again, Deshaun Watson doesn't solve anything for the future. At least with Shedeur Sanders, if you give him 17 starts, right, you see what you've got. You can watch him develop, and if he doesn't develop at the pace that you want him to, then, okay, it's his second year. I know it's a new offense, a new coach. Here we go again with the whole Baker Mayfield thing, right? Like, Baker was here for, 4 years and had 18 different head coaches and 32 different offenses. It's tough. But at least now you'll have a whole whatever. He's in the building with Todd Monken. I don't know how much instruction can go on this time of year, but he's throwing with guys. He's not at Baldwin Wallace throwing with ball boys anymore. He's hopefully, supposedly, allegedly getting some time in with receivers and going over this offense and maybe starting to study some terminology and getting into the playbook a little bit. So you give him 17 starts. If he doesn't develop at the pace that you want him to, now you know what you need to do for next year. You're a little bit closer to the end of those rookie contracts for he and Gabriel. I imagine at some point Gabriel would be out of here. But, man, if you wanted average, you said it the best. I think if you wanted average production out of the quarterback spot, couldn't we have just kept Jacoby Brissett? And probably been in an okay situation. I honestly, look what Brissett did last year in Arizona. The Browns just seem to swing and miss. I don't mean to bring up the swing and miss, but we're on 42 now. We're on our 42nd starting quarterback as Browns fans since they've come back. And I don't know that, what makes you think 43 is going to come in and, okay, well, this time they'll definitely get it right. Right, so let's not mess with the rookie quarterback right now. Let's give Shedeur Sanders the keys to the car. Man, if he runs it into the wall, at least we're, whatever. We don't even have to fix it. We're going to a new building pretty soon. Just leave the hole in the wall and get a new guy in there and teach him how to drive. And when we get to the new place, man, let him put the car in the garage and let's roll. Let's go.
Yes, I'm so with you. And I feel like two things before we get to final thoughts here in a moment. I feel like Todd Monken's not going to come out and say it himself that, Shedeur Sanders is the clear starter or he's my guy. But there's signs. Anybody out there, pay attention to the context clues. He mentioned in a video that, they wanted to draft Shedeur Sanders in Baltimore. Yeah. You watch the video while they're shaking hands and they're hugging and they're excited when he first is in the building, Todd Monken. They're in Berea. Look at who is there, ready to go in Berea and Shedeur Sanders. He's not going to. Guy. Yeah, Todd Monken can't come out and just say Shedeur Sanders is going to start week 1 right now. He has to let it play out a little bit. But I truly believe, in my opinion, it's clear as day that this shouldn't be a competition. You have a 31-year-old guy who is checked out. He's got his money and he's checked out. And you got a guy who's the son of an NFL Hall of Famer that is trying to make a name for himself and could really do something here. And the Browns don't have to pay him $1 gazillion right now. Yeah. Now, they do once, and I say once because I do believe that's in the future if they can get this thing right. But if he starts leading this this charge and postseason victories, you're going to have to pay him down the line. But I'd rather pay a guy with a clean slate. Everybody wants to make it out to be like, wants to find something against Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you really can get at him about except for he's
handled
confident.
everything the right way, I feel. He's done everything that you would want your franchise starting quarterback to do off the field. Give him some time to put it together on the field. I know at times it wasn't great, but give him some time.
He is confident and believes in himself, and that drives people crazy. And that's the only thing people can really get at him for, I guess. And the fact that he hasn't completely put it together yet, but I believe in the guy, and I think that is the right call, and I think we're in agreement there, pal.
Yeah, I think we agree.
So, hey, real quick before we get the final thoughts, we'd be remiss without mentioning our friends over at Music Mentors. Go.rallyup.com/musicmentors2026. You see the link right there, the website. Go ahead and grab that website, put it in your browser, and check it out. You're going to support with us Mentor High School's 2026 Music Mentors Scholarship Program Raffle by donating to go.rallyup.com/musicmentors2026. Now, Music Mentors are a nonprofit booster organization. They serve the Mentor Public Schools, the bands at Memorial Middle Schools, Shore Middle School, Mentor High School, and the Music Mentors organization. They consist of parents, the teachers, the students. They all work together, and they're promoting music in the schools. Again, Memorial Middle School, Shore Middle School, and Mentor High School. They support Music Mentors. They do. Mentor High School's Fighting Cardinal Marching Band and its 175 students. 100% of the proceeds, Chad, they're going to go from the fundraiser to the Music Mentor Scholarship Program, and that provides scholarships for the band seniors. So, again, anybody out there, go to go.rallyup.com/musicmentors2026. Donate, and you can win cool prizes at the 2026 Music Mentor Scholarship Program Raffle. As a guy who loves music, I'm in the music world. This is something so important to me. Help the arts, help people find creativity, and help make it a little bit more affordable and bring some good in the world. With so much bad going on, bring some good in the world and support Mentor High School, support Memorial and Shore Middle School, and let's keep rocking out, Chad. How's that sound?
I'm all about supporting the fine arts. I think it's a great idea. You got the link right there. If you have the means, please, by all means, go to the link and help out. Donate today.
Absolutely. You heard Chad, and you heard myself. Go.rallyup.com/musicmentors2026. Check it out. All right, let's get into some final thoughts and put a bow on this edition of Primetime, because we're going to have to hand off the baton here soon to our bro, AA Anthony Alford. In 29 minutes, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford. He's got a loaded show, and I know because I produce it, and we talked earlier. But it's a loaded show. It comes up at midnight here on the Inside Edge Network, so you don't want to go anywhere. Just, grab a cup of coffee or whatever, get ready to rock, and to stay locked in here. Keep a lookout for the stream.
If you're lucky, you can brew your coffee with AA. So I've seen him brew it right live on the show. I've seen it happen.
He's made dinner on the show live. He's brewed coffee in the middle of the show and watched it. Yeah. That was something. That was something. All right, let's get into some final thoughts here on this Monday edition of Primetime. Chad, you want to go first, pal, or you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Listen,
all right.
So as we head into the draft, okay, there are going to be things that are said about your Cleveland Browns. There are going to be things that are said by your Cleveland Browns. Remember, sometimes, okay, let's look at it this way. The Browns are like family, right? Sometimes family does really weird stuff, right? They say weird stuff. They might argue. They fight. Whatever you fight brothers and whatever, cats and dogs, whatever. I don't care. Whatever example you want to use. But at the end of the day, that's your family, right? So don't let the alligators get to you. Don't let them do that. Don't let people say weird things about you. Trust that the Browns are going to get this right. I'm trying to get through this all with a straight face. Just trust that Andrew Berry is going to make the right decision. Trust that whatever Jimmy Haslam decides that he's comfortable with, that it's going to work out. Let him do this. They have selected. Listen, Eli, when I tell you, they're the premier franchise when it comes to selecting quarterbacks. Now, they may not always get it right. They may never get it right. But they've done this like 42 different times, man. And it's not always a draft. Sometimes it's free agency. Sometimes it's a trade. Whatever. Sometimes it's a really bad trade. And sometimes they'll completely give away 3 years of a draft for a quarterback. So just trust the Browns, because I haven't really made my point, have I? Okay, maybe worry a little bit headed into the draft. Worry a little bit, but they're still your family, so love them, man. Just give them the benefit of the doubt and hope they get it right. And if not, man, I don't know. Let them sleep on the couch or something until they figure it out. That's all I got.
All right, sounds good to me, pal. We'll talk some more Browns, I'm sure, this week. on prime time. We're with you 10 to 11 p.m. My final thoughts are I got to walk in the Metro Parks today. I got to do a mile walk with my bro, and it was really refreshing. I got to really clear my mind, like get some peace, and just got to enjoy nature. It was real nice. It was a beautiful day here in Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, it was like 80-something degrees. It was amazing, and I mean, just to get to walk, get some steps in, enjoy some nature. It was very refreshing. So I say that to say, as the weather's getting nice, go walk in the Metro Parks. Go take a walk. Go push yourself a little bit. Don't push yourself to the point of where you're like, oh man, that wasn't enjoyable at all. But push yourself a little bit. It's fun to get challenged and have some fun while you're doing so. Enjoy some nice scenery. So that's my final thoughts. Just enjoy some scenery. I keep stressing it's getting nice out, but it's because I love it when the weather gets nice. Yes. So go out and enjoy a Metro Park walk, or go walk up to the library, go read a book at the library, and come back home. I mean, figure it out. But we're here to help you. If you need some suggestions, you see the handles, throughout the show. You just hit us up. We'll give you some suggestions of some fun things to do if you're in Cleveland, or we'll think of something. If you're somewhere else in the United States, we'll think of something, or in the world, we'll find something.
Take up geocaching. That sounds like fun. I want to do that, right? Take up some geocaching. I don't know. Do something.
All right, do something. All right, and with that, make sure you stay tuned in. That's something to do. Inside Edge Primetime here with you Monday through Thursday, Chad and I, 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern time, that is, which means that would be 7 to 8 o'clock West Coast time. And then in between, a bunch of other stuff, Central time and all that jazz. Shout out to my guys in Texas. So 9 to 10 on Central time. All right, you get it. But 10 to 11 East Coast time, prime time, Monday through Thursday.
Time zone.
It's crazy, man. Midnight Run with Anthony Alford, midnight to 1, Monday through Wednesday, which means today's Monday, last time I checked. So in about 25 minutes or so, Double A Anthony Alford will join you and go over a loaded show.
Would that technically be the Tuesday episode? Is he technically on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday? We have to have this debate. We're gonna have to have We're gonna have to have an episode where we have this debate, aren't we? Yeah, we're gonna.
That might have to be discussed, pal. I will tell you this: the reasons you might want to tune in and should tune in for Midnight Run. At midnight, we're gonna talk Cavs and the Bigs with Double A Anthony Alford, and we're gonna talk some Myles Garrett, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Shaquille O'Neal. We're going to talk so much. I know. Shaquille O'Neal, yeah, it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy. Midnight Run with Anthony Alford coming up after us. But that's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. This has been Inside Edge Primetime. We are back and ready for another week with you. We're excited to talk some more
Feed the Ducks
sports. We're gonna feed the ducks. I don't even know what that means, but that's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. Before we get in any trouble, we're going to sign off. This is Inside Edge Primetime on the Inside Edge Network. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, and we'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe.
Watch out for the alligators.